In a world flooded with distractions, doubts, and constant comparison, you might feel like you're behind. But here's the truth. You're doing better than you think. You just need evidence, focus, and strategy. This video will show you how to train your brain to hit goals automatically, learn any subject 10x faster, and develop a level of focus that feels almost magical. Let's unlock the full power of your mind. Most people don't realize how powerful their brains are. From the moment you're born, your mind starts adapting, learning and storing information. But somewhere along the way, maybe in school or on social media, you started to believe you're not smart enough. That belief, it's wrong. And today we're going to prove it. Your brain has more than 86 billion neurons, each capable of forming thousands of connections. That means your capacity to learn and solve problems is practically limitless. The problem is your intelligence. It's your environment, habits, and mindset. I think of your mind like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. But if all you do is scroll, compare yourself, and doubt your abilities, that muscle weakens. You don't need to be born a genius. You need to train like one. The first step is simple. Stop underestimating yourself. Start paying attention to your small wins. The times you understood something difficult, remembered something important, or solved a problem on your own. These are not accidents. They are signs that you're growing. Remember, even the most brilliant minds struggled at first. Albert Einstein didn't speak until he was 4. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times. They weren't born special. They just never gave up on their ability to improve. You're not supposed to master everything instantly. Learning is messy, frustrating, and slow, until one day it clicks. Your job is to show up, try again, and trust the process. That's how genius is built, not through magic but through repetition and belief. So the next time you feel behind or not good enough, pause, breathe, and remind yourself you are more capable than you think. Focus isn't about forcing your mind to sit still. It's about training your brain to filter out everything that doesn't matter. The human brain is wired to notice danger, noise, and novelty. That's why notifications, scrolling, and random thoughts feel so addictive. But the same brain can be trained to zero in on your goals like a laser. When you focus deeply, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to pleasure and reward. That's why solving a problem or finishing a task feels so satisfying. The more often you experience that reward, the more your brain starts to crave focus instead of distraction. It's not willpower, it's chemistry. There's a zone known as deep work, a mental state where you're fully immersed in what you're doing. In that zone, learning becomes easier, time flies, and your productivity skyrockets. Athletes call it the flow state. Scientists experience it in labs. And yes, students like you can train it with practice. The trick is to protect your focus like it's gold. Start by creating a space where distractions can't win. Silence your phone, block websites, and use headphones if needed. Then set a timer for just 25 minutes. That's called the Pomodoro technique. After a short break, repeat. It's simple but powerful. Here's something wild. Your brain can only truly focus on one thing at a time. Multitasking actually makes you slower and dumber. So if you're trying to study while checking messages, you're dividing your power. Genius learners stay locked into one mission, and that's why they win. Your focus is a weapon, but like any weapon, it requires training. The more you use it, the sharper it gets. Over time, you'll be able to enter a focused state faster, stay there longer, and use it to absorb knowledge like a sponge. So next, time you sit down to study, don't just hope you'll concentrate. Prepare for it. Design your space, set your goal, and tell yourself, I'm about to train like a genius, because that's exactly what you're doing. What if I told you that your brain is like clay, moldable, adaptable, and constantly changing? That's not just a metaphor. It's a scientific fact called neuroplasticity. Your brain isn't fixed at birth. It's always rewiring itself based on what you do, think, and learn. Every time you study or solve a problem, you're literally reshaping your mind. Neuroplasticity means you can become smarter. You're not limited by your past grades, your environment, or even your natural talent. When you push your brain with effort, repetition, and challenge, it starts to build stronger connections. And over time, what once seemed difficult becomes automatic. Think about learning to ride a bike. At first it's wobbly and hard, but the more you try, the more your brain adapts. Eventually your body and mind move in sync, and you don't even have to think about it. That's neuroplasticity at work. The same process happens when you study math, languages, science, or anything else. The key is repetition with purpose. If you cram information once and forget it, your brain won't change much. But if you review it regularly, apply it in different ways, and test yourself often, your brain starts to treat that knowledge as important. It builds pathways that make recalling and using that knowledge easier over time. Another powerful trick is combining visualization with learning. When you imagine yourself solving problems, giving a speech, or succeeding in class, your brain activates the same regions as if you were doing it for real. This strengthens the pathways and prepares your mind for real-world performance. Don't fall for the myth that intelligence is fixed. It's not. The smartest students are usually the ones who train consistently, not the ones who understand things instantly. Your brain becomes what you repeatedly do. So train it to become focused, curious, and adaptable. Every time you struggle with a new topic, smile. That's your brain building muscle. That's growth. That's power. And the best part? It's all in your control. Have you ever had a day where everything just clicked? You understood the lesson, remembered everything, and felt unstoppable? That wasn't luck. That was a mental state, and you can trigger it on purpose. Just like athletes have rituals, before a game you can train your brain to enter genius mode whenever you want. Mental triggers are cues that tell your brain it's time to focus. These cues can be actions, sounds, smells, or even phrases you repeat to yourself. For example, some students light a specific candle while studying. Others put on noise-cancelling headphones or use a playlist that gets them in the zone. Over time, these triggers train your brain to associate those actions with deep concentration. The secret is consistency. If you always do your trigger right, before studying, your brain will start shifting into learning mode automatically. It's like flipping a switch. No more wasting time trying to get in the mood. Your trigger tells your mind, let's go. You can also create verbal triggers, powerful affirmations or mantras. Say something like, I'm training like a genius, or every minute I study, I grow stronger. At first, it might feel cheesy, but the brain listens to repetition. Say it enough and you start to believe it, and belief drives action. Another powerful trigger is location. If you study in the same place every day, ideally somewhere clean, quiet, and free of distractions, your brain will begin to associate that space with learning. It becomes your personal lab, your mental doris. Entering that space, entering your genius mindset. Even your clothing can become a trigger. Some people wear a specific hoodie, bracelet, or glasses only when they study. The goal is to create a full-body signal to your brain that says, now is the time to focus, not scroll. Genius mode isn't magic, it's muscle memory. When you repeat the same rituals before each study session, your brain responds faster, stays focused longer, and performs better. So start building your mental triggers today, and train your mind to shift gears on command. You've probably heard people say, study smarter, not harder. But what does that actually mean? It's not just a catchy phrase, it's a real strategy. Genius learners don't spend all day studying. Instead, they use specific methods that let them learn faster, deeper, and with less stress. And the good news, you can use them too. The first secret is active learning. Most students highlight, reread, and hope they'll remember things, but that's passive. Your brain learns better when it's doing something with the information, so instead of just reading a chapter, try explaining it out loud in your own words. Teach it to a friend or even to your pet. If you can teach it, you've mastered it. Next is spaced repetition. Your brain forgets things quickly, unless you review them over time. The trick is to revisit the material after 1 day, then 3 days, then a week. This stretches your memory and builds long-term knowledge. Apps like Anki and Quizlet use this system, and it works. Another powerful method is interleaving. Instead of studying the same subject for hours, Mix different topics, for example, study math for 30 minutes, then switch to history, then come back to math later. This forces your brain to work harder, and as a result, you learn more. It's like confusing your brain on purpose, and it helps. Most people don't realize how far they've come because they're too busy comparing themselves to others. But if you care about learning, keep showing up and try again after each mistake. That's already a massive win. Growth is quiet. It doesn't always feel like progress, but it's happening underneath the surface. If you've improved even a little, understanding something new, building a study habit, bouncing back from a bad grade, that's success. It's easy to overlook small victories, but they build up. Genius isn't about speed, it's about consistency. And if you're reading this now, it means you haven't quit. So the next time you feel behind, remember, you're doing better than you think. You're not stuck, you're evolving. Keep going, keep trusting yourself, and never forget, your mind is your greatest tool. Train it, believe in it, and it will take you further than you ever imagined. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything under control. What you do have to do is believe. Believe in your ability to improve, in the power of your brain, and in the importance of each step. You are not stagnant. You are growing, adapting, evolving. Quietly, powerfully. Train your focus like it's a superpower. Build habits like your life depends on it, because it does. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you change your story. You're not just a student, you're a builder of your own genius. If this message touched you, comment below where you are watching, what subject you are studying, or just write, "I am training my mind." Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell, because more powerful videos are coming. And remember, you are more capable than you think. Start acting like it, and the world will notice.